So thank you everyone for taking the time to join. Good to see you. This is our second meeting for the Interfaith Giving Circle Confronting Hate. And some of you, it's your first time joining, so welcome. Let's do a quick round of introductions and we can do our best to go in alphabetical order. I know we had some challenges last time, partly me. So why don't we give it a go? I think that we would start with Andrew, if that's the case.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. I guess the downside of having a name that starts with A is everyone pocket dials me. The positive side is I get to go first. I'm Andrew Hanauer. I'm the CEO of an organization called the One America Movement. It fights polarization and hate by bringing together faith communities, particularly conservative Christians, with Muslims and Jews, and we work with Catholics and LDS communities as well. And we are doing that nationally, and I'm based in Maryland, but exiled from my native California. And I'll turn it to, I think, Ari. Is that right?
Okay, yeah, I'm scanning all the other names. Oh, and I see I have an easy one because Aziza is next. But I'm Ari Gordon. I'm the Director of Muslim-Jewish Relations at American Jewish Committee, where I oversee the work of the Muslim-Jewish Advisory Council, a partnership between AJC and the Islamic Society of North America. MJAC is an action and advocacy coalition that has a national council, 11 regional councils, and advocates on hate crimes issues against white supremacy and domestic terrorism, a lot of government engagement, and we support our regions who are made up of members from the business, policy, education, entertainment, all different communities. Of course, rabbis and imams, we love our religious leaders, but they're not the only ones sitting at the table. Aziza, who is one of our wonderful members. Good to see you here.
All right, good to see you. Thank you. So I'm Aziza Hassan, and I'm with New Ground, a Muslim-Jewish Partnership for Change. New Ground focuses on transforming community through the power of relationship, and we really focus on Muslim and Jewish relationships specifically to work through the difficult conversations and figure out where we can build on areas of common concern. And with that, I turn it to Kate. No, yes. To go the alphabet, but go ahead, Kate.
Hi, sorry, I was skating the list. I'm like, do I also take into account for the names without video? So I'm new to this group. I'm here by extension of invitation of my colleague Ismail, who I see just joined the call. But greetings, I'm in Washington, D.C., and I'm with the Religious Freedom Institute. I'm the Senior Director of Development and Partnerships, and our mission is to secure religious freedom for everyone, everywhere. That's really our heartbeat, and we do that through research and education and hope to bring about impact. So I think, let me do the alphabet here. Maybe Liz is next. Forgive me if I'm wrong.
I was never good at this exercise, so this is like stress level.
We have a Karen as well, so
okay.
Let's go to Karen and then jump to Liz after that.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. Sorry I'm not on video. I'm walking my dog. I'm in San Francisco. I am the Faith Partnerships Manager with Habitat for Humanity, East Bay, Silicon Valley. And I work with faith communities across all faith traditions, building affordable housing, which is kind of an anomaly in the Bay Area. And more, I actually have 2 theological master's degrees in different kinds of faith-based religion and conflict transformation and Christian Muslim understanding, and I'm getting my Doctor of Ministry. I graduate in 1 month, and my focus is in restorative justice and interfaith peace building, and just excited to be here with all of you to discuss this very important topic. Thank you.
And if you want to like put your dog walking on camera, we can that video and just be entertained for this meeting.
Oh, that's a good idea. Okay. All right. I don't want to be distracting, but I might do that.
Liz, take it away.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Liz Weingartner. I am a philanthropic advisor at Morgan Stanley, where we provide comprehensive services to both institutional and family and individual clients looking to advance their philanthropy strategically. On this team, I lead our faith-based initiatives. We've started building out resources for clients who are interested in aligning their capital, both investment and philanthropic capital, with their faith and values. So we've started with Jewish values, but now we're expanding to both Christian and Catholic and Islamic values. So really interested in learning from all of you and grateful to be a part of this team. Okay, so if we're doing both video and non-video, I believe the next one is Marcia.
Hello, everyone. I'm Marcia Morgan, and I am the immediate past chair of the Community Investment Network, which is a national network of giving circles impacting African American and communities of color. And so I'm thrilled to be here with everyone today, and I think it's one of those things of almost seeing a dream come to fruition, because I think Mui and several of us have had conversations in the past about this very thing that we're joined together talk about. So I'm looking forward to working with you and learning more about you. And I will turn it now to...
I guess it might be me. So you all know me as Muhi Khwaja, co-founder of the American Muslim Community Foundation. Excited to be leading this project. And as Marcia said, this is definitely an idea that was incubated with many of you on this call through Philanthropy Together and Community Investment Network and Amplifier. So really excited to have these conversations with you. And to keep things moving, I believe Nina will be next.
Hi, everyone. I'm Nina Fernando. I'm with the Shoulder to Shoulder campaign. We're a multi-faith coalition of faith-based groups and religious denominations who are committed to addressing anti-Muslim discrimination here in the United States. It's really great to be with you all and learn with you all. I believe next is...
Let's go back to Ismail, because
okay,
we definitely
Ismail.
passed over him. I don't know where that happened.
Thank you, Mohi. So my name is Ismail Royer. I'm a colleague of Kate Farrar at the Religious Freedom Institute. I'm the director of the Islam and Religious Freedom Action Team there. And in that capacity, we work on establishing a case for religious liberty from within the Islamic tradition. So I'm very honored to join you guys here today. It's my first time, and first time being here, but I have at least 2 decades of experience in the American Muslim activist and let's say civil rights community. So very honored to be here today. And I'm not sure who we go to next.
We'll go to Samantha, I believe.
Okay.
Hello, thank you so much for having me here today. My name is Samantha Fagiolo. I am here as the Assistant Director of the Sisterhood of Salam Shalom. We bring together Muslim and Jewish women and teenage girls to build relationships, establish friendships, break down barriers, and train leaders who are equipped to stand up to hate. And I'm very excited to learn more about all the work that all of you do.
And quick plug for Sisterhood of Salam Shalom. They are looking for an executive director. So especially in your interfaith networks, if you know somebody who'd be a good fit, please have them take a look at their website. So I believe, if I know my alphabet, we are going to go to Sarah, then Sasha, then Sayeda after that.
Hi, everyone. I am Sara Lomelin. I'm the Executive Director of Philanthropy Together. Our mission is to democratize and diversify philanthropy through the power of giving circles. So excited to be here. And as Marcia said, and as Muhi said, this has been in the making for years, I would say. So very excited to see everyone here, and also to see a couple of the launchpadders for you, Liz and Shaseen here, that are part of our spring cohort. And yeah, I'm happy to learn from all of you. So I'm going to pass it to Sasha.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sasha Raskinyan. I'm the program director at Amplifier at Jewish Federations of North America. We work on supporting Jewish giving circles in sort of the broader world and working on democratizing philanthropy and having more folks give rooted in values and community. So thrilled to be here. Glad this is getting off the ground. And I'll pass it to whoever's next.
So Sayeda's on the phone. So Sayeda, if you want to go.
Sure. My name is Sayeda Jaffrey. I'm with the Hub Foundation. It's a philanthropic family foundation of a private individual in California. I'm based in New York. Our mission is to engage the American Muslim community and support amazing work that they are endeavoring in many different spaces, as well as the interfaith space. And we have been supportive of particular theological seminaries, and we believe in the wonderful work of how interfaith engagement and collaboration can empower the kind of impact that we hope for.
Great, thank you. And now I believe our last guest, Tabassum.
Hello, I'm Tabassum Halim. I'm the CEO of the Islamic Networks Group, or ING for short, a peace-building organization that promotes mutual understanding through education. And we have multi-faith. Our claim to fame is our live multi-faith panels of individuals, as well as multicultural. And it's really nice to share this space with all of you.
Likewise, I believe we may have missed Shazeen, so sorry, Shazeen. You're on mute.
Sorry. Hi, I'm Shazeen Mufti. I'm currently a diversity, equity, inclusion, change management consultant. I have served in nonprofits for over 20 years at all different levels, and specifically served in interfaith communities. I'm Muslim, and I've actually worked for 2 different synagogues, and diversity interfaith is just a part of my being. So I'm great to and honored to be with this group. So thank you very much.
Of course. These introductions are so important, and hopefully we can expand our networks just across the country and be with people who share our values. So that being said, I know, many of us want to know how we play a role in this giving circle. And at a very high level, I want to talk in the second half of the meeting about planning, participating, and promoting. So those are the 3 key areas in which I think each of you can be involved in. But before we dive into that, I'm going to send a link here on on Zoom chat, and it will be an invitation for you to look at a website called Mural. And it's an app that goes through some planning process. So Sasha and the team at Amplifier created this kind of deck and participatory experience. So I will share my screen as well. But Sasha, if you can explain kind of the background of the Giving Panorama, we can start there.
Great. So if you click the link, you're randomly assigned an animal, and this is currently in view only. So I leave it to you just to decide which is easier. Is it easier for you to look at the Zoom share screen, or to minimize the Zoom and move around the mural yourself? If you're having trouble moving around the mural, don't worry, just look at where Muhi is walking us through on the Zoom, whichever you prefer. Muhi, how long should I plan to talk for, just quickly?
Yeah, just if, we can kind of jump into it, but in terms of this exercise, how this helps giving circles.
Great. So we designed this. Originally, Amplifier was founded as an independent organization to start and support giving circles. And a little over a year ago, I guess now it's like a year and a half ago, we expanded our work to think about all the ways that people can come into values-based giving, because giving circles are wonderful for the people who have the time, the energy, the resources to join them. But a lot of people need other ways to get involved, to think about giving, to make this conversation more accessible and help them see how their involvement in causes they care about, including giving money, is related to values, to community, to a number of things they're already doing. So Giving Panorama is meant to be a visual conversation starter. Originally, we imagined this as a series of posters in a room where people had dots and a pen, and they would like put their answers anonymously on the various posters. And at the end, you could see everyone's responses in a relatively anonymous way. When COVID started, we were able to move this online onto this platform called Mural. And we have a full like facilitation toolkit for this. But the way we envision this for giving circles in particular and how we've used it is it's a wonderful conversation starter, getting to know you activity early on in a giving circles process. So Muhi, if you want to sort of pan through the whole thing, I don't know, like you can just zoom out or just scroll through. You can actually also just click through each one. So you can use the outline on the right, and that'll help you go from quote unquote poster to poster. But we start with this conversation about values, and they're easily customizable online. So like ours has these, the values with the Hebrew words associated with them, where people give to locally, regionally, whether they give in conversation with others or on their own, what counts as giving? Is it money? Is it board membership when they give? So a bunch of questions. People can go through this online. It takes about 10 minutes, it's very quick. And then it's a conversation starter for people to talk about whatever your giving circle wants to actually get into, right? So if you want to use this as a jumping off point for figuring out your giving circle's values, you can have everyone fill this out, and then you can really focus on the values poster, which is number 3 here, and say what your meaningful gifts, which values inspire those, and which value inspired you to show up here, and what's shared in the room, and how do we use that to inform our giving circles work, right? You can use this to gather information for yourself as well about how your giving circle members give, what inspires them, whether they're mostly thinking about giving as like a local community-based thing or a global initiative, all of that. Perfect. So that was the overall vision. We've really just seen it work in a very large number of contexts for starting conversations and making these conversations feel really accessible and easy to have in a way where sometimes it's scary to have a conversation about money with a new group of people. So I'll pause there. Muhi, let me know where else you want me to go, questions, whatever.
That's perfect, Sasha. So what we'll do is on the screen, you should see the Where Do You Live section. So you can grab a green dot and drag it over to your city. So let's start there. And essentially on the first...
Muhi, I think we're all in view only. And other people can drag around. Interesting, can they? If you're looking at the Zoom screen, you're gonna want to minimize your Zoom screen first. So like go to the upper left-hand corner and minimize it, and then go find the mural, which is in a tab. And I see everyone moving around. Muhi, we actually can't, we're in view only, so we can't interact with the content right now.
I need to say edit, can edit?
I'm not sure because I've never gotten anyone into view only mode myself. Would it be helpful to like pull up the, I think this is a setting in your mural, perhaps.
Yeah, so.
Or in how you shared it in the link you generated.
Yeah, or maybe is it that it's locked?
It's not that it's locked. It says view only at the top.
Okay. So I changed the share feature to say edit for visitor link.
Great. Okay. So
maybe if everybody refreshes their screen.
Yeah. So mine is, and people are moving around. Perfect. You all got this. So what you're doing now is once your screen refreshes, and somebody's clicking and dragging the whole.
That's me, unfortunately.
Okay. You can, if you minimize, actually, Muhi, this is a bit easier if you stop sharing your screen.
Okay.
because then the Zoom isn't full screen. So if you can reopen the link in the chat if you have it closed, otherwise go find your browser where this opened, enter as your randomly assigned animal, and then click and drag. You can click number 2 where you live on the right-hand column. It'll take you to that second prompt, and just click and drag a dot to where you're based.
Perfect. Thank you. Sorry for the technical difficulty. And the only reason why I wanted to share the screen was because for the recording, people can kind of see the process.
Yeah, you can, I mean, as long as it depends on like people's comfort with like changing their windows around. But certainly once people are done, like reshare and.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So we'll go through this over the next 10 minutes, and then we can talk about it for another 10 minutes, and then we'll get into the planning, promoting, participating after that. So, okay, looks like most people have dragged their dots. So now we're going to go to number 3, values. And I see a few of you already there. So I will summon you to this page in case you need help moving over. And again, just green dots that align with your giving. And if you need to minimize your Zoom, feel free to do so.
And are we able to pick as many causes as we want to?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, just making sure. Thank you.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, like nobody wants to help others, but there's a lot of justice in the world. And if we run out of green dots, you can always click one, copy it, and paste it. Great, so another minute here. And if you get the hang of it, feel free to move forward to the next steps as well. So we'll jump over to community. Oh, it looks like somebody may have accidentally dragged a thing. We'll fix it later. So if we go to community, number 4, you can then kind of see the inner circle says locally, then the outer circle regionally, nationally, and internationally. So you can kind of define locally as in, you know, maybe your state, regionally, Midwest, East Coast, that kind of thing. And then obviously nationally and internationally are their own. And what's interesting with like a national giving circle, right? We would be wanting to help causes across the country that are doing this work as well. But for some of the members, it may be a local or regional one. And at the same time, you can also think of in your communities, do you want to start your own giving circle and how this can play into that as well? All right, so let's click over to number 5, time and communication. In this past year, when you made your decisions to support places, did you give rather quickly and talk to other people before or after? Did you give quickly without talking to anyone? Did you take a lot of time but not talk to anyone? These are the different types of ways that you maybe came to a decision. All right, I see most of the votes in there. And then we will go over to the ways you give. So does it mean that you want to serve on a board, raise awareness, help fundraise, give money, volunteer? And as a fundraising professional, I just need to make this plug that if you are serving on a nonprofit board, you are definitely involved with fundraising. So if you put one there, you should also, by default, put one in fundraising. Perfect. Now moving on to the next prompt. I give when, number 7. You can edit the note card to type in some words. And then if people agree with what you've written, you can drag a green dot to it as well. So feel free to read through the different post-its that are there. And if you feel like you agree with the statement, go ahead and put a green dot or create your own so that you can add your thoughts in. So some of the thoughts I see here, I give when it's December, I give when a family member or trusted friend asks, I give when I see an org taking a risk for a good cause, I give when my children feel passionate about a cause, I give when there is a need that I'm strongly connected to or passionate about, I give when tragedy or natural disaster occurs, creating an acute and immediate need. I give monthly. Okay, let's see what these new ones are. Some more thoughts going in. I give when my giving circle decides on a local organization to support. Love that. And I give when I give to community causes. Okay. Fantastic. All right. So the next section is I learned about giving from, and then there's family, friends, teacher, financial planner, religious institution, the media, myself, celebrities, others. And if it is other, feel free to copy and paste a Post-it note to say what it is.
You can also create a Post-it note by just double clicking. That'll make one appear.
Perfect. Thank you. Nice. So we added in colleagues. Oh, interesting. You know, sometimes in the news, they do highlight some charities, so I will at least drop one into the media. I'm definitely encouraging more financial planners to talk about charitable giving and act as philanthropic advisors. So hopefully that's something that becomes more common practice. Now, in the next section, it's I give. So you can do it as a percentage of your wealth. You can think of that as your total assets or your annual salary. But then on the x-axis, it is about the number of donations made. So how many organizations you support. I put in the key indicator for 2.5% because as Muslims, we give 2.5% of our wealth annually. So it's adding everything up, your 401k, your balances, and everything in between. So many Muslims do give beyond their zakat, but just as a point of reference for everyone there. Perfect. Great. And then in wrapping up, let's just kind of quickly, again, you can double click for a Post-it note. What is one thing you liked and one thing that you feel can be improved with this Giving Panorama exercise? And we will PDF this and share it with the entire group, and it can be a living document for us for guiding future conversations. And again, if there's something that you liked, you can drag a green circle from the previous page over. And I'll put a few there so you can copy and paste it. So things that people liked, love the simplicity of this activity and how it creates community. Great chance to reflect on my own giving and values and patterns. It's interactive, great tool. Love the interactive element. Definitely agreed. And then, yes, a tutorial before using or prompts in an email before the exercise definitely could be helpful. So we will try to do that ongoing. And perhaps a way for non-tech savvy to join would be, they're still typing, so it's hard to say, but really good feedback. Discussion of each page. Yep. After we can dive into that as well. Got it. Would have tried to try it, put out prior to today. Yep. Makes sense. Perfect. So let's do that real quick in hopefully 10 minutes so we can still have some relevant discussion on next steps as well. So if we are done putting in some thoughts, we can come back to number 2, where you live. We can get a good idea of where everyone is located. I will summon you to me so you can see. So we got some California, Chicago. I need to do better with my state geography. I'm guessing, I don't even want to say it to make a fool of myself, but definitely some East Coasters as well. And then in terms of the values that align us, looks like a majority of people give for showing justice, loving kindness, and human dignity. Anybody want to share some thoughts on the causes that inspire you?
I think for me, it's this, the causes like anchor me. They connect to my values, and it's like an extension of, so my philanthropic giving is an extension of what I want to see in the world and who I want to be. And so it's actually a gift back to me.
Nice. Thank you for sharing, Aziza.
I'll say I'm sure that people in certain giving circles would cringe and say this is a terrible way to do it, but I have started giving regularly just to organizations that speak to me, that come up, you know, on a monthly basis. Find something that seems to connect with something that happened that month, or was brought to my attention as a particular problem or issue that month, whether it's through a friend or something I've read, and just be able to give a little bit to that cause to help at that moment. Even as I know there's a debate over whether giving in larger chunks or smaller chunks, you know, that's certainly out there, but to just sort of raise my own awareness with what I'm able to do.
Thank you, Samantha. So on the community side, seems like a lot of people love to give locally. Definitely there's some people giving internationally and nationally more so than regionally. And as I mentioned, you know, this being a national giving circle, the members can nominate charities, and oftentimes they will be maybe a local chapter. But hopefully if some of those organizations are doing some work nationally, or today with everything being virtual, can be at least open to services that are nationally available. This will kind of get into more so specifically the types of organizations this giving circle would want to fund. And as members, they can nominate different charities to be considered for funding. So this will definitely be insightful through that process. And I'm hoping that in our next meeting, we can dive a little bit deeper into what the criteria for organizations that would be nominated by members would be. Any thoughts on that right now? Okay, on the time and communication piece, it looks like a lot of people like to give quickly and after talking to other people. So that's great because that's what Giving Circle is all about. Yes, you can take your time to review, but hopefully it is creating action from the group and the discussion and having consensus on how you want to support different organizations. On the ways we all give, it seems like majority are there's a good widespread against everything. So, you know, a lot of people like to give money, volunteer, serve on a board, raise awareness. And I get it. Fundraising isn't always the bee's knees, but it's a critical part to have all of the organizations be supported that we love. So a Giving Circle really does help with fundraising, right? So it's a critical component of it all. If anybody would like to share on the I give when statements, you know, some of this may be relevant as an interfaith Giving Circle confronting hate. Oftentimes it may be after impulse of a tragedy, you know, even just last, you know, in Boulder, we see this, and in Atlanta, we see this. So it's something that's just a stark reality of our country and needs to be addressed. And if there are things that we can do to help promote understanding across faith spectrum and lens, I think that is helpful. But it's good to know that some people are all about supporting things that they're strongly connected to and passionate about. When organizations can take a risk and do something for a good cause, focusing on community causes. So all of this will definitely go into the genesis of the types of organizations that need to be supported. And we learned about philanthropy from a lot of people said family, religious institution. So that makes sense, and friends, colleagues at work. So again, when we are talking about participating, planning, and promoting, it's going to your friends and religious institutions to talk to them about this Giving Circle and see who would be interested in joining. And last, the percentage of wealth. Seems like a lot of people are in that 5 to 10% range, which is great. And most of the people are supporting about 10 organizations. So yeah, any quick thoughts on this exercise for the Giving Panorama that people would like to share?
I want to share, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's great. You know, this is actually my very first time doing the Giving Panorama. And I think it's an amazing way to create community in a nascent Giving Circle, right? Because you learn from each other, but at the end, it's as it says at the beginning, right? It's a little bit anonymous because you don't see who answer what, but at least you know where the group, you know, gravitates to. So I really like it.
Thank you, Sarah. Cool. So I know, you know, I think it's a critical component for people who want to learn about Giving Circles, how they operate, the mechanisms behind it. And in the next 15 minutes, I want to talk more about the ins and outs of the Giving Circle idea itself. We want it to be national. We want it to be with people who are from the interfaith community. So as many more friends from other faiths that aren't represented here today, the more recommendations you can make for other people to join this planning committee, that would be great. And again, the three key things that I wanted to ask of you is, do you want to be involved in the planning? Do you want to be involved in the promoting? And do you want to be involved in the participation? So those are three key critical components of this process. And if you say, I don't have the time to plan the ins and outs, but I definitely want to be involved when it's launched, that's great. And then the promoting is really going to be once we figure out those planning pieces of what's the criteria for the minimum amount of gift that should be given to this giving circle to have a vote in nominating a nonprofit organization, right? We can keep it so that there's no minimums and anybody who wants to give to the pool of funds can do so. But if we wanted to set a minimum amount of money, then that would indicate that that individual has a vote to nominate a charity and select an end charity. But again, the planning process is how many finalists will come to present to the entire group? What are the dates going to be for those meetings? Is it quarterly? Are we only funding once a year? Do we want the funds to be an endowment, or do we want it to be an operational gift? So these are all things that the planning committee would decide. And I'm hoping that the planning committee can either set a pace of bi-weekly or at least monthly meetings so that these decisions can be made within the next 2 to 3 months. If it's done bi-weekly, I think we could have these things ironed out by June. If it's monthly, it may be by July or August. So we'd really love to launch this giving circle by the end of the year. So that planning process is critical. And then after that is promoting it, right? Saying, if you want to be involved in this, you need to make your gift by X date. And then we will be nominating charities to submit a LOI by Y date. And we'll be meeting the top voted organizations by this date, and then listen to all of the proposals and make a vote and decide which organizations receive the funding. So that timeline could be a few months in its own, but hoping that at least the money is given to the pool of funds by the end of this year. And even if we decide the recipients of the organizations aren't until Q1 of 2022, that's fine. Or if we decide we want to do it by December of this year, again, those are decisions that the planning committee would be involved in. And then promoting is obviously just, each of you represent interfaith networks and people. So you would be helping identify who would be participants in this giving circle. And then, of course, for participating, if you yourself want to be a voting member or at least put some funds into it, that's kind of where we see this committee playing a role. Would love to obviously have you involved in every category, but I'll leave the rest of the time for you guys to ask any questions and we can move forward from there.
Can I go ahead, Ari?
No, please.
I'm curious, and it sounds like every giving circle gets to choose how frequently they meet and et cetera, et cetera. I've been really intrigued by a trend in philanthropy that I've witnessed pretty a huge shift recently. And that is where a lot of bigger donors or our biggest donors have said, we don't want as much reporting. We just want you to be able to focus on the work. And it's been a pretty awesome shift because it has freed up our resources to be able to actually do the work. And I'm curious, like, are there models of giving circles where, yeah, like where you're clear and you outline, and where there's a smart way to capture so that, you know, all the things around accountability are definitely there, but where it's not quite as demanding on the nonprofits who are applying?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, Aziza. And I'll let Sarah take this one because as Philanthropy Together, they provide a lot of resources to giving circles and how they should operate and engage with the nonprofits, and if there should be a report back feature and what that looks like, and trying to make it as easy and simplified as possible for the nonprofits. So, yeah.
Yes, thank you, Muhi. Asisa, that is exactly like where we want to move, you know, giving circles to do, right? To just, you know, give general operating grants, don't ask a lot of reporting. You know, there are different models of giving circles, and each giving circle decides how they want to do it. So I think there is a great opportunity for this one that we are all building it to really set kind of the rules of the game, right? And say, you know, we are going to be supporting small grassroots organizations, and the way we're going to do will be, you know, with a very easy Google form where we will ask literally 3 questions, and we're not going to be asking people 100 times to write down their mission statement and all their stuff if we Giving Circle members can do that work. So as Muhi was saying, you know, we have a Giving Circle incubator called Launchpad, and we tell the Launchpadders kind of try to do all the homework yourself as Giving Circle members instead of putting the burden on the nonprofits. Then instead of asking for a report, because no one is going to be able to change the world with $5,000 on a $5,000 grant in a year, like literally, you know, just set a call in, you know, in 6 months, and just call your grantee and said, hey, how are you doing? We would love to hear from you. How can we help you more? What worked, what didn't work? Instead of just judging or asking for a report, just asking again, how can Giving Circle members be a tool and an instrument to get more funding to the nonprofits? I think that's the whole idea. Like moving from the charity to the change part of things.
Great, thank you.
Appreciate it. Ari?
Yeah, we thanks. This is a great exercise. I'm also really excited to see how what we just went through also translates into the character of what this space is. Really, really helpful and amazing to be able to do it in a virtual setting. You know, we talk about this as an interfaith giving circle. And I assume I don't have a lot of experience with them, but I assume every circle is really an expression of its members, and they can't be comprehensive. I do wonder if there is something intentional about creating this as a diverse space. Are we thinking about who's here, who's not here? I know that there's been a real openness to bringing others in, but once we look and see who's on this planning committee, is it just an expression of all those who are here, which is already quite a diverse group, or are we giving some thought to other voices that need to be at the table?
Yeah, you know, early on, like at first I thought, you know, let's have the Abrahamic faiths, right? But after that, I was like, but why does it need to be limited to that, right? So for me, I would like to see more representation, but if we, you know, it doesn't mean that we can't move forward without it as well, right? But we want to make the nomenclature and kind of what we say as open as possible so that people all feel welcome to represent their community. Yeah.
I have a question as well, just one thing. Oh,
go ahead, please.
Okay. Just building on that point about representing the community and sort of within the planning process, if we're thinking about, minimum grants or minimum donations, who's at the table making the rules, and making sure that the community that we're trying to benefit or include in the process is also making some of the rules for the actual group itself. I think that's really important. And so making sure that those voices are included from the front of the planning process.
Yeah, that's a great point. And more of the reason of why I want to try to expand it a little bit more.
This is Shazine. We have a really wide variety, group of interfaith communities in Southern California. And I'd be happy to share with the larger group, with the Sikh, Hindu, Buddhist, Baha'i communities. I just think that I've reached out to a few people, but it just, because it's so new, I just want to give them some specifics to it. So I think we'll have a lot more participation as we reach out to our networks.
Perfect. So with the last 2 minutes, I did have some people say they are definitely interested in planning. I'll still send the invite to everybody on when we meet, but I want to try to get a core group of people dedicated to planning, so that we can try to come up with some of these criteria and the about us and different types of content that we can then share with other people. So does anybody want to self-identify into the planning process? Awesome. The fact that you're muted, you could have said no and been shaking your head, but I'm going to assume you said yes, Aziza and Ari.
Yes,
Perfect.
yes. I mean, so long as you also have a template that I can work from and edit.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. This is great. Liz, thank you. Shazine, awesome. Nina, great. Fantastic. So I know we're at the top of the hour again. So thank you so much. This has been really productive. The next meeting will get even deeper into these conversations, and really great to move forward with each and every one of you. So thank you for your time.
Thanks, Mohi. Good to see everyone.
Likewise.
Thanks all. Be safe. Take care.